My name is Howie Schwartz. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Crowded. We're thrilled to be here, and we wanted to again thank Microsoft for hosting us. This is going to be just a great night. This is our fourth or fifth meetup that we've done, and I always start off with the same bad joke, which is, the room is crowded, which is why we named the company that. Again, it's wonderful that everyone's here. We have a great panel tonight that I'm going to ask to introduce themselves in a second, but I have to set a timer because apparently I was told my last panel was too long. So I'm going to try to fix that this evening to make sure that everyone has enough networking time. Great, so what we're going to do is we're going to ask the panelists to introduce themselves. Let's start with Darcy, and we're going to go all the way down. So your name, your title, what company you work with, and one fun fact about you.
Okay.
So Tyler Kimble, Solution Manager for the Global HR Operations at Microsoft. My role is actually to architect and revamp our entire recruiting software process. So I'm looking forward to some of the questions about the candidate experience and what Microsoft is doing to improve that. Fun fact for me would be that in November, I will be becoming a dad for the first time.
One of the main things that we're trying to do at Crowded, and the reason why we do these meetups, is that we believe that even though everything that we do is happening in Crowded on your mobile device or through a chatbot, a conversational interface, what we realized is that there was a lot to gain and a lot of value that we could provide to the community by bringing people together in the physical world, which is kind of a different thing and a little odd these days. And this is also immensely helpful for us because the feedback that we get from our employers on the panels and the employers who attend and the candidates, all of you guys who come about your profiles and the type of trends that you're seeing really directs, our vision. So, I like to say that we gain as much from this meetup series as hopefully each of you will tonight. So one of the trends that we see is the concept of a disconnect between what the different levels of software developers would be. So one of the classic things that we hear, and raise your hand if you face this, where there's an entry level or a junior level developer position, and you read down it and it requires 10 years plus of experience. Raise your hand if you've experienced that. So that's, well over 3/4 of the room. So, it's hard in such a fragmented, industry to kind of standardize this, but we found that one of the ways that we can help the community at large is trying to get, sort of a better understanding of that, and that when we're doing matching, when an employer posts a job in Crowded, when we're doing matching and thinking about job recommendations and things like that, thinking about understanding the experience level is really important. So you may have all the right skills, but the experience level is really important. So I'd love to go down the panel. We're going to start with Darcy. So Darcy and Tyler are going to tag team the event for us tonight. So I may direct some questions to one or the other of you, but feel free again to jump in, Tyler or Darcy, if you'd like to add something to your colleagues. We're going to go straight down the panel to Aviva. Thank you. Okay. So your definition of what a junior developer is, number of years of experience, things like that.
One thing I would give as far as advice goes to the junior developers in the room is if you see what you think is an entry-level position based off title, but the job description doesn't match up with the user experience, just make sure that your experience as far as knowledge goes matches up to what the role is looking for. So don't shy away from applying just because you don't have the years as far as a job experience on your resume. If you have the skill set they're looking for, meaning if it's looking for a cloud engineer and you have great cloud experience and you took a lot of classes on that, don't shy away from that. It's still a junior role. They're either looking for someone with the skill set that will balance out for the years of experience actually on your resume.
Tyler, I'd love to hear a little bit about the candidate experience from Microsoft's perspective, and maybe some of what you've seen from the bad side of it that needs improvement, and some of your personal experience and what you're doing to improve the candidate experience. And if there's any comments you have on sort of the mobile candidate experience, I personally would love to hear that part, because we think about our world as mobile and sort of chat interfaces.
Sure. So I'll try to answer the question both from recruiting software standpoint, that's really where my background is, and also what Microsoft is doing. So today, Microsoft recruits 86 different ways across the globe, whether that's due to process, systems in place, and programs as well. So that's a current state today. We are addressing that for tomorrow. So our goal is to be a one Microsoft, really truly on one global ATS, one system, improving that one candidate experience as well. I think the one thing you'll see is, as far as the bad candidate experiences, is when you go through and apply and there's disconnects between different job types, whether it's multiple steps. The one thing we're really trying to focus on, and I would recommend to any of my fellow panelists and any other companies with a recruiting software role, is that you really want to make sure this candidate experience is between 2 to 5 minutes. So keeping mobile in mind, I always say that after that 5-minute mark, that candidate drop-off rate really spikes. Because I'm sure all you in this room have had that pain point where once you start applying to a job, if you hit that 5-minute mark, there's 8 steps left to go, you're going to drop off, especially if it's not mobile friendly on your mobile device. So we have a really big initiative to really have a really great candidate experience going forward. To reduce that black hole scenario. So you're going to be able to go through on a mobile device and easily apply to any of our jobs globally. And also what we're doing is building out what we're calling our action center. So really communicating to the candidate to keep you informed, whether it's good news or bad news on the position you're applying for, to keep you up to date throughout the recruiting stages, to keep you informed of what stage you're at, what stage is next, helpful tips going forward, along with communications to the mobile device.
I'd love to hear about your recruitment process, and I know it could be a long conversation, so we'll try to condense it down into maybe even to include some of the timing and some of the steps. So someone starts and they fill out an application online. What's next? Is there a phone screen, in person? Sort of talk us through how someone gets hired in your firm, and maybe some timing in there too for each step.
The one thing I'll say is from a global standpoint as well, what you're hearing throughout the other panel members is kind of key stages, right? You apply, your resume is reviewed, usually by a recruiting team. From there, you're moved on to a hiring manager to usually have another phone call or screen as well, and then a technical screen. With Microsoft, we have a built-in house tool for coding challenge. And then from there, you're brought usually for a face-to-face or a Skype call. And just like Charlie mentioned, we have different personas going through it, meaning the person you're talking to may be asking you specific questions. So don't just be ready to answer coding questions or what your challenge was at that moment. There's going to be certain questions thrown at you, and make sure you're a culture fit, your certain challenges that come up from those stages, and then down to the checks as well.
So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of just quick answers. We're going to run down the panel, and I have a few different questions that's going to be at each stage. So Joe's giving me is that 4 or 5 minutes? Without my glasses, I can't see. All right, thank you for the 5 minutes. I can't see the difference. All right, so we're going to go really, really quickly. So we're going to start at the application step. And let's start with Darcy, and then we're going to go straight down. So give me one thing that a candidate can avoid in an application that immediately is just going to not get them to progress to the next step. Give me like one, I know there's a million things. Give me one example that everyone can go home and when they apply for a job tonight, not do that one thing. We're going to go straight down the panel really quick.
So what I would say is don't become what I like to call the serial candidate. Don't apply to every job on the website. One thing the recruiter is going to do is look at other jobs you apply to. If you've applied to 1,500 different jobs in all different departments, they're going to know that you're not really interested in a certain focus and reject you.
We're going to just do one quick funny example. So give us something crazy that happened on a screening phone call that you suggest someone never does. So they got through the application, and now they're on a call with you, and something was said or something happened, and you're like, oh my God, and then that no one in the room should do.
My statement would be accurate on your resumes and be ready to talk to it. When I was talking to somebody as far as what they coded or project, I asked them about that, what language they coded in, and they just couldn't speak to it. Shortly after that, you could tell the conversation was ended on the interview. So make sure whatever you put on your resume, you can accurately speak to it on that phone screen.